Hey friends, we finished August. It is time for Thankful Thursday. Let's get this colored in and let's talk because there has been a lot of big major changes in my life and yeah, so you guys know I went to Europe, Spain specifically, and that changed my entire life. I don't want to be that person that comes back, like the typical American, like, oh my god, Europe changed me. But, oh my god, Europe changed me. In the best possible way, of course. I never grew up with a big family. I never grew up feeling very loved or supported by my family. It was just typically my mom and I, and we were just you're on your own kid type of situation. Now, let me fix this. My mom is an amazing mom. She did her absolute, best to make sure that I had a wonderful childhood. She made every holiday fun and special. I mean, my mom is my best friend. Like, let's be real here. However, there was a lot that was lacking in my childhood, specifically family. I was unwanted as a kid by my family on both sides because my mom married a divorcee. So, my dad's side of the family, specifically his sister, they're Catholic and they didn't believe in divorce. It was very much so you stay married and miserable to that person for the rest of your life. You are a horrible person if you get divorced. Well, my dad had kids as a teenager. He was at that time, you had to get married. You didn't walk out on your responsibilities. You did what society told you to do, which was unfortunately get married, which to him was not walking out, which in today's society you can still be present in your kid's life and not walk out, right? But that was what it was referred to back in the day. And so he was forced into marrying her. It was not a good situation. I don't know the whole situation because he didn't have me till he was 40 and he had them when he was like 17. So obviously I don't know the situation, but from what my dad had told me growing up, that there was a lot of drugs and he didn't do drugs, and there was a lot of cheating on her end, and so he became a single father. She moved to Florida and he had custody of them, which back then for the father to get custody is a pretty big deal, right? So you got to believe him to some extent. So, long story short, his sister and his family felt like I should have never been born because I came from after his divorce. So they wanted nothing to do with me from the day that I was born. And for some people, that is really hard to believe or imagine. But when I tell you, growing up, when she would come visit, which was very rare, even though she lived 5 minutes away, I had to go to my room. I wasn't allowed to come out. I wasn't even allowed to come out to even go to the bathroom. When she came, I was to stay in my room the whole time, and that was it. I never got gifts from her. Once in a while, like, she would give, like, a gift, but it would be a very obvious baby gift, like, embarrassing, like, something I had outgrown, pretty much, and it would be really rare. Like I said, she just had her beliefs. Well, on the flip side of that, my mom's parents, sorry, they were nice to me. They loved me. I felt like, they cared about me. They've obviously passed on. But they had a strong belief that my mom should not have married a guy that was not a virgin. And they saw my dad as tainted, being that he had a previous marriage that did not work out. And they saw me as then tainted. And while my grandparents loved me and stuff like that, I knew that my mom's siblings hated me, that they didn't think I should have been born. And when I became an adult and I could choose who I wanted to talk to, I obviously cut out my dad's side of the family, right? So I tried to keep in contact with my mom's side, and they wanted nothing to do with me. They just said I was a mistake in life, I was amounting to nothing, blah, 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 right? So it hurt. It really freaking hurt. I haven't talked to them since, and I've learned to heal, and I've learned to cope with that, but I always wanted a big family. And then I married into my husband's, and his family disowned him, and his mom kept him from his dad's side of the family. So even though he tried to get to know them, he's very much so like an outcast. So it's kind of one of those situations where I always wanted a big family. I've seen it on the movies, but I never knew what that was like. I've never had that lived experience. And so I got to experience that when I was in Spain with Carmen's family. Even though it was just them, it wasn't like her extended family or anything. It was literally just Carmen, her dad, and her mom, and her brother. I still felt loved, welcomed, and accepted by them. And again, like I said, that is something that I've never felt before. And so when we were there, I got to see what a typical, normal, average family looks like, how they interact, the love, the care, the kind and positive words. It really changed me. It changed something in me. And I had been doing great with my positivity since Carmen. I had completely changed when we hosted Carmen. Like, people will tell you, I used to be a big downer. I used to be a miserable, negative person. You could probably go back to my old videos and see how much I've changed in the most positive way since hosting her. I got to see a perspective that life isn't always bad, or life's going to have bad moments, and it's how you find the little fun positives that matter. And so I had lost that with with fostering, because the foster kid that I was given has no ambition to be happy or to do better in her life. She doesn't want that. She wants to very much so harp on her past traumas. And it had put us in a point where we were both becoming depressed, like secondhand depression, and we were unhappy. We were miserable, and we were becoming negative again. And going back and spending time with Carmen pulled me out of that and made us stop and think. And we were going to do our 10 days with the foster kid at that point. But I'm like, you know what? We're coming back. We're refreshed. Let's come back and let's do it with a whole, like, one last go. we're coming back refreshed. Let's do like this final push. We get back, and she's saying she thought we were abandoning her. We were horrible for going on vacation, even though we had planned this way before we even became foster parents, before we even took her on. Like, we did not take her on without saying up front, we have this trip. So, I didn't like being blamed. She harmed herself. She had to go to an inpatient hospital. At that point, my husband and I were like, you know what? Like, I don't think we can do this. Her negativity, her aurora is so dark. It's pulling us down. We are not... How do I phrase this? We're so new in finding happiness. We are so new in leaving our depression that we are not stable, I guess, enough to be able to be around someone else's negativity and depression without it pulling us back in. Maybe if we had mastered it for a while, we would be okay. But like I said, we're new to all this. We're new to the positivity. We're new to the happiness. Like, I don't want to be pulled back in, and I was being pulled back in. So that's when I get a phone call from the coordinator from the exchange program, and she's like, I got you a school. It's a charter school. It's 30 minutes away, but a bus will come. You just have to drive 10 minutes down the road, and you can take her to the bus stop. I screamed. I cried. Like, why is this happening? So I contact DSS, and I'm like, you know what? I'm really closely putting in my 10 days with this kid. I don't want to do that to her. I said, but I can't keep the negativity. I said the exchange student, it would be good for us. It would keep us more positive, but it would also give this foster kid a new perspective. If Carmen changed my life without even knowing it, just by her personality, imagine what another kid could do for this foster kid. I laid out all the positives, all the ways that it could help her. I mean, granted, there's going to be negatives and everything, and I think the negative that they came back with was they're going to negatively impact that kid. That was in the attachment, but we were like, we could frame it because everyone has left in her life. She is afraid to open up in therapy because that therapist is going to leave. I'm like, this could be a learning lesson that people leave, but they can still be friends. They can still talk to you. Like Carmen left, but I'm still talking to her a year later. I went to visit her. And we picked this French student. DSS approved it. We got this French student. She gets here, and licensing comes back, and they say, no, you can't have both. That she's not mentally stable after her hospitalization, and we think that it would be detrimental to her to have this strange kid come in her house. Even though they're not competing, because this kid isn't going to see me as a mom or dad, or even a parental figure, they're just here for the experience. And my husband and I talked, and we both agreed that we can't continue to do this without that. Is it an ultimatum? Absolutely. And it's not that I'm picking an exchange student over this foster kid that I've had for the last 3 months. It is, we are to that point where we were walking away, and we were going to get up our 10-day notice with her, and then the exchange student thing fell in our laps. We were going to do this regardless. Presenting the exchange student with the foster kid was a last-ditch effort to salvage what was. Which is hard because I get $1,700 a month from Chloe, which was very helpful with food, with just going and doing day trips and fun stuff like that, which I've had to sit here and decide, like, what's more important, my happiness, not being depressed, or the money? Because I can't have happiness and a positive mindset and have that money with her. Those two things will not go together. And so after that experience, I'm like, I pick the student. I pick the student because then I get happiness. Well, at that point, DSS said the kid had to be moved. So I had to call the coordinator. I'm like, hey, I can't keep the French girl. She needs to go to a new home. No. So she found another home for her. So the French girl had to move. So I put in my 10-day notice. She is officially out on the 15th, so I'll get one final paycheck from that. And I want to cry because I feel like I failed her, but in the last week, she's had 2 suicidal, expressing suicidal things. She has told me she does not want to get better. She has told the therapist, I will not talk about anything. These are useless. I don't want to get better because there isn't a future for me. Nothing I can say or tell her is going to help her. It's like a drug addict. You can want them to have recovery and to be sober, but until they want that for themselves, not gonna happen, y'all. Not going to happen. So I was like, I made the right call. I hate to feel like I'm giving up on her, but if she's telling the doctor, she's telling the therapist, I don't want help, I don't want to get better, this is what I want for my life right now, I can't continue to deal with that. I can't have a fight every single day. I can't allow myself to be miserable and fall back in that depression, because I was in that depression for 2 fucking years. And then on and off since then. And I finally got to a place where I healed. I healed in Europe. And I am forever thankful and grateful for that. I came back a different person. I came back knowing what happiness is. I came back wanting more. Wanting more travel. Wanting more experiences. And I sat and I thought and I cried a lot about it. I processed a lot. I started journaling and kind of writing it all down. And what I came down to is I can't save this girl. I want to save this girl. But she doesn't want saved. She doesn't want adopted. She doesn't want help right now. Maybe she'll want help in a year. Maybe she'll want help in 3 months. But in this present moment, she doesn't. She doesn't want change. And that's okay. But it's also okay that I can't continue to do this anymore. If she would have said, I want the help, I will do better, what can I do? Can I do the inpatient? Can I do the intensive outpatient program? I would have picked her. I would have given her the chance. I would have given her the opportunity. But I can't with this. And she has what we suspect, per the social worker, multiple personalities, DID. She doesn't remember from one personality to the next, and it's like amnesia, and I'm starting all over again, and it gets exhausting. And I feel like I've reached my limit of what I can help with this child, and that breaks my heart. That absolutely breaks my heart. But I have to do what's best for me. And at this time, it is being a host family. Now that that's back on the table. Like I said, life can change so fast in front of you. And so I talked to Deborah, I explained the whole kit and caboodle. And she got me 2 students. I'm gonna have 2 students this year. I won't get them till the 15th. We make that switch and transition. Obviously, I don't get paid, and that's okay. Because the experience that I had with Carmen was worth everything. And we picked a girl from Taiwan and another girl from Spain. And y'all, the girl from Taiwan, oh, my heart. She's like a little Carmi. I'm so excited for her to come. I'm ready. I'm ready for this new chapter in my life. I know what I want in life now. And that's what I didn't know before my trip to Europe. I lived for the first time in my life in Europe. I smiled authentically for the first time in Europe. I didn't worry in Europe. I thought I wanted this white picket life with kids. And I was so depressed and so mad because I couldn't have my own kids. And I fudged my way through the fostering thing. And then I got the foster kid. And it wasn't what I wanted. Sometimes you don't get what you want because it's not what you need. Sometimes what you really want and what you really need are things that you say that you don't. I learned from this experience that I want to travel the world. I want to host exchange students. I want to see their culture. I want to learn their language. I want to learn everything that I can about the world. And that is ultimately what I want in my life. I don't need a fancy job that makes 6 figures. I don't need to be rich. I don't want a bigger house. I don't need the newest and latest things. I just want to travel. I want to see new perspectives, new ideas, new ways of life. That is what I want. So if you're over on my TikTok and you see all the life-changing TikToks about Europe, it changed me. It changed me. And I came back tan. It's kind of faded a little bit, but I got my Espana bracelet, my Holland bracelet. So regathering and refocusing, coming back to reality is hard. But I'm thankful for the trip. I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm thankful forever for the experiences and the memories. I'm thankful for the new family that we have created through the exchange program with Carmen. And I'm happy that I can host again this year. I am thankful for that. I am thankful that we can freaking host again. And I'm going to tell you what. I'm going back to Alamogordo, New Mexico. And I'm going to redo that trip. With my best motherfucking friend. Because we're going to Juarez together for her husband's, he's becoming a U.S. citizen. He has to go back to Juarez to do, like, some interview thing, for citizenship for the U.S. Anyway, I'm like, I'm going to Juarez with my bestie. And I told her, it is only an hour and a half drive to Alamogordo from the El Paso airport, which we have to go in and out of. I said, we're redoing that trip together. We're redoing that motherfucking trip. That's the thing I learned. I'm in control now. I can rewrite those memories. I can rewrite those experiences. That's what I'm going to do, y'all. And I'm excited. We've got the Disney trip coming up. I'm planning a secret trip to another country. I'm not going to say where. I'm going to let you guys guess. Not Europe, not nowhere far. It's a country in the Americas. Somewhere closer. Not the Mexico trip. That's completely different with my bestie. Talking about my husband and I are doing a trip to another country in the Americas. And we are going to work on debt. We're going to try to get what we can knocked up. And then we're going to start saving to travel the world. Because I'm going to Taiwan to meet this to see this exchange student in 2 years. I'm going back to Spain to see Carmen and this new girl. I'm going to Morocco to see Blanca and ride the camel in the Sahara Desert. I'm going to do these things. And I'm going to start planning and I'm going to start saving and I'm going to live what I have in this life. And I'm going to be happy. And I'm not going to be scared. So yeah, I'm grateful for this trip. That was a really long, thankful Thursday. Thank you guys for kind of sticking with me through it. I hope you guys have a great Thursday. Bye.